welcome to HOA Fight Club. I'm Raylene Schifano. Today I would like to discuss the fact that I had just a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about sharing people's stories. Getting our stories out there, I think, really helps tell the legislators what is going on in HOA. And if you want to make me a video with you telling your story, or send me your story in writing, and you can keep all names out of it. You can even keep your name out of it. You can just send your story, and I can keep your personal, person private, sorry. And I just want to be able to share everybody's stories. I think that that's where we need to start with the government this next year, so that we can show the pain and suffering that homeowners actually go through, and what it cost us, and how the fight is not fair. I realize that a lot of you don't know my story. And so I'm going to start doing videos on, well, more than one video, because I think my story is really, really long. And I think that little 10-minute video times, I can start talking about every violation, everything that happened, mediation, depositions, discovery, all of that stuff. Why I turned attorneys over to the, ethics board if I find that they're violating their ethics. And, a lot of attorneys are. That's a big deal right now. So I have a lot of attorneys that are showing up to due process hearings, and, it's just unfair already, let alone to be unfair and not follow the law. So I'm going to start telling you about my issues and how I dealt with each individual issue. I'm actually trying to write a book, so I think it will help write this book also. I'd like to start today by telling you who I was before I became HOA Fight Club. My husband and we had lived in the Seattle area for quite a while. I was born and raised in Washington State, so I am a native to Washington State and have grown up there and gone to school there. And so I did gymnastics my entire life. So I owned a gymnastics club in Kent, Washington, Ariel's Gymnastics. It's named after my daughter, and I loved being a coach. I was a really, really good coach, and I loved the parent-toddler classes and the preschool classes. Those were my favorites. And I just enjoyed being around the parents and the community. I did a lot with the community, which is how everybody knows me in that area because of my business. My husband also owns a business. He's in telecommunications, and we were working hard and trying to enjoy life at the same time. We actually had gone to Europe and traveled around for about 3 months, and in the middle of that time, we had decided that we weren't quite ready to be done working, because it just wasn't us. We got bored after a while. So we came home and we bought into the condo association. Now, I don't have any legal background or anything. I have just dealt with a few different lawsuits because of a harassment case that I was in, and fighting for unemployment. I have an overturned unemployment case that had to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And so, there's just all these things that I have done in the past to kind of prepare me and educate me on how to deal with the law. And so when I moved into the condo association, we had just gotten back from Europe, thought, oh my gosh, we'll just buy a little condo. And that little condo was the biggest mistake of our lives. And it's not like we didn't go over all the documents. It's a rush. You've got the realtors rushing you. You've got everybody. You got to do it now. The market is hot. If you don't, do this, the people advise you to waive inspections on some things. It's just, and we didn't waive any inspections. We actually had our, inspections, and the water intrusion that started coming in our home was identified at that time with the president of the HOA at the time, who had been the president for over 20 years. And she knew that the back door had to be changed, and that there was water intrusion under the flooring. And she didn't say a word. She never said anything about, hey, the slider door is the board's responsibility and we have to change it if it's bad. So that was our first dealing with, the board president, and knowing that she had lied and that she had been there and that she said that, yeah, you guys need to pay for the fix. They should have paid for it right from the beginning. And, red flags should have gone up and we should have ran for the hills then. But I trusted the documents that I was giving. The HOA was healthy. They had lots of money in savings. And, you have all these spreadsheets and hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents to go through anyways when you're buying a home. But to add the HOA and condo association stuff, it's quite a bit. But I went through everything and I noticed what they had in savings and all of that. And I thought, okay, if this is healthy enough, it won't matter if there's damages to the home. And I didn't understand who was responsible for who's responsible for the wall, the floor, the outside, the limited common elements. The back patio area was a limited common element, and I didn't understand that at that time. So anyways, we kept the purchase and we went in, and within a month we got fined for a sprinkler head. And the sprinkler head cost me $400 to have it replaced. And we didn't paint it. Somebody else had painted it. And that's what they did. Coming to find out that that's not our responsibility. If there's damages to it, that's the association's responsibility. So I was so uneducated at the beginning. And like I said, I coached gymnastics. I played with kids. I had all these responsibilities in my life that were needed on my business side, and the HOA took everything away. Everything away. So I couldn't even go to work half the time because I was dealing with HOA and the president and the nonsense. And then I became, a target of their wrath. And once I became that target, there was no stopping this HOA board. This board had served over 20 years altogether. They all were original homeowners in that, in the association. And just to think of the people, and I had no clue at this time, but the people that they had actually foreclosed on, put liens on their homes, cost them thousands and thousands of dollars. One person, they had cost the guy his home and his business. And it was actually the board that was at fault. They had towed the car out of the garage, which we owned the garages, even though it's a condo association. They didn't own the interior garage. They didn't own it. So they couldn't do anything about they could take care of the outside walls and the door, but they couldn't do anything on the inside. So it's crazy what they were doing to people and how they were putting them into foreclosure. And when I got that first fine, I was so angry, and I should have at that moment pulled out the declaration and the bylaws. I didn't even realize at that moment that I had the declaration and bylaws, and what they were meant for. You get these declaration and bylaws, but you don't understand that these documents are above the Constitution. They're above the state laws. They're above the city laws, the federal laws. It's just insane what what the rights that our homeowners have been given, and how they've taken them away. So the Homestead Act, it's really sad that they've done this. And the fact that the government is looking to put in middle housing right now, and they're going to put all these townhouses and condo associations in, and people are going to be foreclosed on a few years later. I give some people, they'll be there 6 months and they'll have a special assessment because they're doing condo conversions, which is an apartment complex that's converted into a condo association. But all those damages, think about it. Those buildings have been built there forever, and these people are going to move in. They're going to have this new condo that they can afford, and then there's going to be a special assessment for water intrusion or the roofs or something else. Something will always go wrong, and these people will be charged assessments. Now you're going to have a board that is they're going to be doing everything they possibly can, increasing dues and increasing assessments and special assessments. And if the government isn't careful, they're going to put more people into homeless shelters than they ever could imagine by doing this. So, if you want to do middle housing, great, but it's not going to work if it's in a condo association or an HOA. Who's monitoring those associations? No one. So as I began my fight, having to been fined once, I didn't realize until the second fine that this was going to be a habit. So we will leave it there for today, and I will tell you more, but please share your stories with me. Send them to me. Send them to HOAFightclub@gmail.com. If you would like to make any donations, you can go to HOAFightclub.com and make donations. I have been super, super busy. I can tell you that there's a lot of people out there suffering and they need my help. And at the moment that they need help, they can't afford to make a donation. So it does really help me help them. I use the money to only help homeowners. I don't use it for anything else. It's a nonprofit, so it is tax deductible, and you can get that number from me. And I just want you to know that we have a story to tell, and we need to tell our stories, and telling them now and letting me share them will really, really help us all. So share your stories with me, send them to me, send me videos. First of all, I'd love to see my clients, so it'd be great to have videos of everyone, but I understand that not everybody likes to be in front of a camera. And let me tell your story, and you can tell me that you can send me a video with your story, and if you don't want your video shown to everybody else, I can just watch the video and then tell your story. And I think that we will have some great success with this series. So, all right, I'll see you on the next one.